Welcome, welcome. I am Dina, and this is Discussions with Dina. I hope everyone within the sound of my voice is doing well today. It's a little nippy, but it is a beautiful day nonetheless. Peace, light bearer. How are you today? Thank you, darling. Now, it is a good day today. It's just beautiful. And I plan on fasting in this glorious day. Now, I just wanted to shout out my sister, Nikki Justice. Peace to you, sister. Nikki is always so supportive, and she support my live stream, so I have to give her a shout out. I wanted to thank her. She actually shared a response video yesterday on her platform in which she piggybacked on the subject that I was speaking on in regards to Ricky Smiley, who was questioning the non-Black faith leaders' behavior. And she did a video where she talked about this pastor that actually urinated on a female passenger of a on an airplane flight. Um, that's something you all should look at. It was quite interesting to say the least. Um, Now, 2020 has proven itself to be one for the record books, and it is still revealing and testing our faith today. So, um, spirituality is just something that we can use in the midst of what we are experiencing. Oh, is it light bearer? Now, this is the season, I guess, that my mom would speak about when I was a child. She would say there is a time and there is a season for everything. And she would say there's a time to sow and a time to reap. And I guess we can decide ourselves what season it is for us and at what point in our lives. Nevertheless, my topic today was going to be on spirituality and our personal belief system and how we can use it effectively to get us through these times that we are experiencing currently. interesting information from her. Okay. My daughter is on this spiritual journey. Like I said, sharing a lot of things with me. She feel like she's being revealed through her dreams, and she's doing a lot of yoga and reading on different things, things that are affecting her. And like I said, because she's a mental therapist, it may very well have something to do with it because of impact on your own psyche. So, and, and things like that. And she's talking about, I am finding this very interesting, and it's really interesting overall to even get into the human psyche. Now, like I said, she is a therapist, a mental therapist. So understanding dealing with the mind and human behavior is what she does. And figuring out a particular behavior is kind of what she does and what she enjoys doing. Now, the mind, with all of its complex functions, it can manifest different things within our life. And as a society, there are a lot of things that is around us, but we're trying to take this spiritual journey and get close to what is in our nature, what should be in our nature, because we have been so um, taken away from what has been or should be natural to us as a people. So as we continue to try to get back to the point where we can connect with nature and our environment and the universe, I think that we're happening upon several different things that are coming into our lives through dreams and everyday occurrences, I would say. But it pays to open your eyes to what is going on around us and who is actually being the architect of our spirituality. Now, she give my analysis on what I observed within this society. And that conveniently chooses to ignore the body and the soul of our people in particular. Its effects are felt all over. Not, I mean, they did a disservice to us, but the mindset has affected the entire world. Now, there was a wise man that I once knew, and he would make a statement, and he would say, how would any person know that they were in darkness unless you turned on the light? And I think what it means is that the light reveals what you didn't know or could not see, because when you're in darkness, you don't know it sometimes. It's a very fitting analogy to us as Black people. We have been mistreated so long and hurted that often we can't see the architect for whom he really is. So we continue to ignore what has always been evident in our midst. And in order to free our minds and become the spiritual beings that we once were, we do have to awaken from our slumber because we have been made blind, deaf, and dumb. So I wanted to speak on spirituality and its effect on our personal lives today, how we can use it to help us get through what we may be dealing with currently. And I'm referring to the coronavirus, the racial injustice, the physical and personal financial issues, and all manner of confusion that is in the land today. And I could not help but relay much of this to how groups that are in power have impacted the life and the spirituality that we have today. And they've thwarted their ascension to a higher or better spiritual and physical plane. Today, we continue to look to those in power to sustain us spiritually and serve as a guide for us. And I wanted to ask the question, how do we know that they are the actual beings to do just that? How do we know they are qualified to do that? Now, we often forget that those that we seek our spiritual assistance from and have looked to them for spiritual guidance in the past have been contributors to some of the problems that we face in our lives today, to begin with. Now, has anyone besides me ever pondered why society is constructed the way it is? I mean, why are you never ask the question like, why are athletes and entertainers paid more than teachers are? Or why we don't hold the producers of life in a better esteem than we do? Why don't we give them the opportunity to bond with their babies or children when they're born and share their spirituality? They have that connection that a mother needs with her child. Peace to you, Hidden Tower. And I'm constantly pondering what's going on in the universe, what's going on around me. And I'm going to do this as a two-part because it gets a little deep and I don't want to scare some people away. But I keep wondering who came up with the 6 weeks after you have your child that you should return to work. You're developing a connection there. And today I think we're seeing the result of kind of it's impacting that bond because we can see it in our children's behavior sometimes. There's a disconnect, and this pandemic, if nothing else, has connected families and allowed them to be together a little bit more. So on one hand, it's very hard. I can't exaggerate that, but it can be a bonding experience for some. Now, has anyone else wondered why our society doesn't give us or doesn't allow the basic education that you need to uplift yourself or the guidance to propel the society? Because if we're in school or we're getting educated, we could actually help contribute to the society. But oftentimes, it is such a hardship to pursue higher education. It is the same thing when I look into the system of government when it comes to healthcare. And I said, when I'm thinking about this stuff, I said, all of this is a burden and it makes you a slave to this society. But it also clouds your thinking and that spirituality that is natural to you. Because as my daughter would say, she's always talking about chakras. And these things can be burdens that impede the process when you're trying to get on a higher spiritual level. When a student can be in debt in this society for thousands of dollars under the guise of education, but you gladly give car loans but cannot be given the same amount to purchase a home or to start a business, it would lead one to think that there is a hidden hand somewhere. Things that benefit the society, like education and good health, it should be something that society encourages, and I don't think it should have to come out of the individual's pocket. That's my thing. But as a human, we have certain expectations, or we should have certain expectations that make us better off as a society, as a group, as a people. And I ask constantly, when we consider the hierarchy here that we have set up in this society, shouldn't we expect more from them, or is it us? Should we expect more from ourselves? And the architect who has constructed what we have accepted in our life is the one who benefits from us not developing our own spirituality in our way of life. So many times the social construct impedes or destroys our humanity for one another and even the spiritual fulfillment within a society. And no one wants to admit that we are in a matrix. It's the construct of someone else's reality. We know what the answer would require us to do, but many of us don't want to do it. We don't want to open our eyes and wipe away this illusion and control our own reality or our own destiny. Because doing that means you have to look deeper inside your own self and awaken that consciousness that has been put to slumber. It means you got to get up and work for you and your betterment against the forces of this world, and that can be painful and that can be hurtful, because when you're trying to break atoms, it's not easy. My husband loved this movie called The Matrix. And in The Matrix, there's this character called Morpheus. I don't know if everyone has watched The Matrix, but it's a very deep movie. And in The Matrix, Morpheus unplugged Neo from the Matrix, which is a reality created by another guy, another person, it wasn't a person, it was a machine actually. But they were using the human life as energy. And that's what is happening with us today. So Morpheus actually unplugged him from the source, from being the source of energy for the bloodsuckers, which were machines. And when he unplugged him and he started to actually like come to life, he awake from his slumber, and he said his eyelids hurt. And his response to him was, because you have never used them before. He went on to say that some don't want to be unplugged and they will hate him for trying to unplug them. Even one of the men he previously unplugged, which was a part of his team, had a problem with being unplugged, and he resented him for trying to wake him up and get him to get out of the illusion that we are surrounded by in our lives. And he wanted to be plugged back in so he could continue to be a source of energy for someone else. And that's often how we are today as Black people. When you try to wake us up and pull us out of that slumber, you're often looked at as the bad guy or the bad person. So when we're talking about spirituality, it's so deep and complicated, and it requires being honest with yourself. It requires you to, and my husband loved to say, meditate. You need a quiet room so you can go within yourself. And so much will be revealed to you. But we have to take away all of the spookism from what spirituality really is. Because we have all of these notions, but we never question how we get to, when did we learn to accept some of the beliefs that we have? Where did it come from? We don't want to question that many times. And unplugging from the matrix and from this false illusion, it requires us to do work on ourselves. And many people don't want to take that journey because it's just too hard. It's too difficult sometimes, but it's so beneficial. This is a hard and a painful reality that many of us don't have the courage or choose to do because we have become so comfortable with our existence here. We've become comfortable and yes, ma'am, I hear you. We've become so comfortable that we automatically see people who are trying to assist us as attacking us, when in fact we could actually learn from each other and build with each other. So we can change this false illusion that is around us. Because I've seen a lot of hope, and I've seen a lot of despair as well when it comes to what is going on in the world today. And I just wish I could do more, but I know I can't. But the one thing I can do is try to offer some encouragement to those who may be experiencing hardships for whatever reason, to look inside yourself. Now, there is a lot that we can do and that we must do to turn us to our nature and our spirituality as Black people. Being the original people of the earth says a lot about us. And sometimes we kind of push that aside as if it means nothing. It means a lot. It means you've been around a long time. You are an ancient people and you have wisdom that was taken away from you, but it's still there. We just got to tap into it. We were around, I mean, centuries before the existence of other people on this earth. And there is a wisdom that we attained that we have to get back to. Because for some reason, we bought the propaganda that we are limited on what we can do, what we can be, and how to do things. We are ancient people, as I've said before. I liken us to a parable in the Bible that speaks of a man that was robbed and hit in the head, and he was not unconscious, and he was left for dead. I think that represents us. And as some ministers would put it so beautifully, there were so many that walked past us who saw us, and I said that person represented us, Black people. They saw our state and our condition and how we were being treated, and they looked at us and they just simply shook their heads. And that happens today a lot of times because we don't have faith in ourselves, in our ability to govern ourselves. We've lost that, some of us. But so many walk past us and didn't stand up for us or help us in any way. So we were laying there unconscious. And nobody shook us and said, hey, get up. This is an analogy, of course, except for that one Good Samaritan. So now, today, we are waking. We're waking up from that slumber, from that unconscious state of being. And we should be questioning the practices and policies of the thief, the architects of this society. Now, I could go on and on with that analogy, but I won't. We will save that for another day and time. And I would love to have you come up, Light Bearer, and speak your piece on that. But I can hear those dry bones rattling because it's like our people are, it's like when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired. People begin to change their reality, and that's what we need. Yes, ma'am, from the illusion of the wicked. Yes, indeed. Now, I was listening, and I have a lot of compassion for others, but my focus is our people and our spirituality, getting us back to a good standing, a good footing, so we can do for ourselves and not have to wait or wish for others to do for us what we can do for ourselves. Now, in the Hinduism faith, it states that there is no hell or heaven. They're not tucked in a corner of the universe. It is believed to be in ourselves and in our experiences in life. Now, they believe if you do good work, you will experience heaven in this life itself, and you can become emotionally or spiritually satisfied. They believe that the whole universe is created and sustained out of vibrations, and human life can be upgraded with the use of the sound so you elevate yourself to see others in yourself and yourself in others. And those are good tenets for us to live by. And there is a belief there. But then I always ask, who is the architect? That's a question I ask. But while researching spirituality, I came across some information that one of the content creators on YouTube shared about a group of yes ma'am, I'll put that link in, like bearer, um some black skinned melanated people that are referred to as untouchables. That's right, light bearer, we are our own architect. Exactly. But there were some melanated people that are referred to as untouchables in the Indian culture, which make me again examine who is the architect. There are a group of people referred to as, is it Dalit? When I heard the name untouchables, I said, what are they supposed to be? Wealthy, crooked leaders of state or what? When I heard it being used, it would be called Dalit. And I was thinking, what manner of evil are they getting into and to have the name untouchables? But they're called Dalits, and it's spelled Dalits. And what the Dalits are, they are, yes, ma'am, I think we do. They are a population of people in India and Hindu that are Black and considered to be contaminated from birth because they are Black. They are highly melanated, but they are Indians. They're my color or your color, but these people are dubbed to be the lowest social group in the Hindu society. Therefore, they are mistreated and are constantly facing violence from members of their own people. They are discriminated against, raped, murdered, and given the title of untouchable and put into a category of unworthy of humanity simply because they are our color. They are Black, they're melanated. Indians believe that these people were born as untouchables as punishment for misbehavior in previous lives. And untouchable could not ascend to a higher caste within that lifetime. Untouchables had to marry their own, which is not a bad thing. And Hindu reincarnation theories, those who scrupulously followed these resurrections could be rewarded, these restrictions, I mean, could be rewarded for their behavior by a promotion to a higher caste. They have what is a social order where there's like 4 levels. And with those levels, these people that they call Dalits, they are beneath those four. They are considered the lowest of the low. And I kept wondering after I read how beautiful the religion of Hinduism, the faith, how could you treat people like this? How could you, I kept wondering where in their society did that architect come from that set up this hierarchy of people that has been institutionalized. So there is a part of their social structure. These people practice a religion, like I said, called Hinduism or Dharma, Samsara, which is the continuing cycle of birth, life, death, and rebirth. And they believe in karma, which is action. It's the action, intent, and or consequence for your actions. Yet none of this supersedes their mistreatment of these melanated members of their own group. In India, they have it's not natural. I believe you. In India, they have a caste system. Like I said, there's It's a class. They consider themselves, they divide themselves into a class structure. Um, it's mind blowing when I was reading it. Now, when these dark skinned, yes, they are black, and I'm looking at their skin light bearer, and I'm saying they're our color, our shade of black. And you would think that they were black people if you didn't see some of their hair textures. Now, these people face, like I said, discrimination and violence consistently. And the word that they chose to describe themselves, Dalit, it means oppressed or broken. And I just could not comprehend how Hinduism, the religion being based on universality, claims to give importance to respect and life, and you could treat people in the manner that you do. So that's why I say, who is the architect of your spirituality? Where did that come from? They believe that they believe in the importance of the image of God in your mind. That's what they focused on instead of having a person or a relic that you pray to. Some people believe that karma, that theory of karma, is one of the core values of Hinduism, but I don't, because I think it's just a philosophy, because I can't see mistreating a group of your own and finding that acceptable. Now, they believe that nothing in the universe is created without being perceived in advance. And that's why it is important they don't vibrate, and that's jealousy. Light bearer. Yes, ma'am. I, I believe that nothing is created in the universe without us first thinking or perceiving it. And I think our objective should be to understand the power that is within us. Yes, ma'am. Light bearer said karma is what? They are going to show, put it on the screen, going to receive discriminating against skin. You are correct. I agree with you, light bearer. Now, like I said, once again, our objective is to understand that power within us, that we have the power within us to become the creative person. As light bearer said, we need to be the architect of our spirituality. We don't need to be working from a blueprint that was made from someone who hated us or did not have our humanity in mind when they gave us this, what we accept as religion today. So we need to be drawing up our own blueprint for our lives and remove all the false gods, the despair, and we can remove all that from within our chakra, as my daughter would say. And we need to be in a mindset or in a space where we are creating as we once were as a people to benefit us. And we can destroy the enemy of freedom, justice, and equality. We can destroy that ourselves. Because one's place on the earth, as well as your spirituality, should not be decided by someone else or by, yes, they perverted the truth, Esquire. It should not be something that somebody else decides for us as a people. We're the original people of this earth. And we have an ancient history. And I think we need to get back and tap back into that spirituality. We are gods on many levels. We are children of the Most High God. Once we remove this ingrained information that we have been given from social practices, we can once again be the architects of a righteous spirituality, one in which we are in harmony with nature, in harmony with the universe. We are in harmony with one another and the supreme being, if you believe there is one. But this subject runs deep. So I will have to do a part two. And I would welcome anyone who would like to share in this conversation. Please come aboard with me and share your thoughts on it, because it's such a topic that is never ending. So I will definitely be doing a part two. And I want to remind you and encourage you to subscribe, to like, to share, and comment. And I want to invite you to join me back here tomorrow. That is it on that subject for today, but I'll say to be continued. I want to thank you for listening, and I will see you next time. You don't have to prefer to lie. Thank you so much. I want to thank you for joining me. And I'm wishing you a wonderful, wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow on Discussions with Dina.